the heart of the stormy sea lies an island of misery, cursed by darkness, lost in time. Only the heroes can break the rhyme. Four must unite to restore the light. Through the trials they will fight to bring back the day from endless night.
Welcome to the Livendrell Chronicles, Aomaki's Isle. Hey everyone, my name is Douglas. I am your Dungeon Master. I'll be guiding you through this part of the adventure. So far on Aomaki's Isle, Jed, Artie the Bard, and Daniel Soul, a Tiefling Paladin, embarked on a quest to find a map that would lead them to the old hermit roaming the island. Along the way they met Martha, a pregnant woman who's revealed that the island has been cursed for 100 years, causing time to stop and halting all natural progress, including her pregnancy. The curse also prevents death by age or starvation. The heroes went on to encounter a group of horrifying, zombie-like children at an abandoned hospice, victims of the curse who had been left to starve and rot while still living, their hunger becoming dangerously insatiable. Overwhelmed by the attack, they were saved by a mysterious cloaked figure, later revealed to be the hermit, and furthermore be known by the name Squibbish. This character, who also possessed an orb identical to Jed's. Now, as we continue our tale, the four of them sit down for dinner outside the hospice to discuss their next plans of action. Welcome to Session 2, The Green Tribe.
So, what brought you all the way out here, friends?
Looking for a map of sorts to help us guide around this island that we are not well familiar with.
Well, navigation without a map can be quite a task. Luckily, I have just the thing.
He takes it and he unrolls it on the flat dirt in front of you guys, illuminated by the fire. This is his personal layout of the entire island based on just, where he goes. Maps are not in mass production on this island. Everyone has been alive so long that they know where to go. They know their way around. Not everyone knows everyone, but for the most part, you know where all the general markets are and food supplies and stuff like that. Now you have a map.
Now you may notice a few scribbles here and there. Maps are not common use in these parts, but this one has yet to fail me.
He points to the place that says Home Sweet Home.
Come tomorrow sunrise, I can lead us here. That marking is my home. I can guide the way, and it can better equip you all for the journey ahead. In fact, I have something there I believe should be yours to keep. If it's agreeable, I say we leave at first light. What do you say?
Jed,
I'm fine to go. Yes, let's go.
what about you, Artie?
Artie is sitting over with his back against a rock. He's facing away from the fire. He's actually looking at the hospice, and clearly that encounter that you guys just went through, it's still fresh in his mind. He is very jumpy at this time. Yes, but by all means, let's go.
And with that, everybody, especially Artie, settled in for the night. Slightly restless, that close to the edge of the woods, little did they know the things that would await them within the forest the very next morning. Sunrise comes, the heroes awake, and are soon on their way once more.
Everyone gets their things together and continues towards this wooded path there is a shallow sliver of woods with a trail going through it. And Swedish goes ahead and he starts marching along the trail. And as everyone is walking down this path, you hear a sound approaching you of something large with 4 legs just galloping towards you. A horse trots in near you guys, and on its back is a heavy-duty saddle with 2 large side bags to it. And they seem to be very heavy or something. The horse is breathing very hard and slows down as it approaches you.
Can we calm the horse down?
You click a few times and you just, whoa, you ease it, and the horse, it lifts its head a few times, and then eventually it does start to calm down and just stands with you guys. And it's not looking like it's going to bolt or anything. It's still on edge a little bit, but it looks like you guys are good for it.
Daniel, check its bags.
So I will check the bags.
You open up the saddlebags, and inside you see multiple boxes about yay big, stuffed with gold coins, 250 in each side. On the top of the saddle, bound up, are actually a stack of scrolls that have been bound together.
I'll check out the scrolls.
As you're checking out the scrolls, Jed, you do not recognize these. Daniel, however, you do recognize them as you've lived on the island for some time. This is a horse that actually belongs to one of the banks on the island, and they were in the middle of transporting currency from one bank to another. This one's rider, however, seems to be gone.
What is it? What did you find?
That's bank money. Seems to be, well, I would have to say ambushed, but the horse got away. That's what I would have to guess.
So, I wonder where the driver is. And why wouldn't they chase the horse? This is where all the money is.
You think maybe those children attacked or something?
They were farther that way, though.
Ah, fair.
You hear a twig snap.
I'm gonna just say go home to the horse and smack it on its back, and then see if it keeps going.
You smack it, and it does take off. It steps on your foot, though, however, dealing you a half point of damage. Just off the path to everyone's left a little bit, you hear more rustling in the leaves. A man crawling towards the path. He's a larger man with a bald head. He has various cuts and scrapes all over his body.
Help!
And is bleeding quite a bit.
Jed, can you use your heat spell to heat my sword up so I can mend his wounds?
If this works, I'll look at the end of your sword and cast Prestidigitation and try to heat it up and see what happens.
Trying to gently place the sword against the wounds to make sure I don't cut him, of course, but I will have to press hard enough to actually get the wounds closed.
So you do carefully get the sword, but as it's big and awkward, the end of it hits against a tree stump because you're lowering it to the ground. It's very low to the ground. You manage to close up a couple of wounds on his head, but not without a large additional scar being formed down his head, and he screams. And before you know it, you hear,
Stop and drop to the ground!
and
Get down!
you hear 3, 4, 5
Everyone
jump
on
out
their
of the trees around you with spears and swords pointed at you.
You! Stop what you're doing! Get down!
These creatures, these men, as you want to call them, they're made of wood and vines and leaves, just living plants. And they're holding these weapons towards you.
We would not recommend fighting. Drop your weapons.
Does Squibbish with us?
He is.
Has he been guiding us?
He sees everyone pop out, and he carefully, with his hands up, waddles towards his carriage and starts gently digging through his stuff as not to be noticed, as there's a few of us, and so he's kind of trying to grab some stuff in his bag.
I'm gonna let him. Maybe he's got something going on. So I'm not armed. I'm not gonna drop any weapons. But I'll keep my hands up, and I'm gonna try to distract them as best as I can. I'm gonna nudge Artie, hopefully, and then make a wall so it's not super noticeable. Hey, no problem. We're not gonna do anything. We're just here to,
Oh, yes. We don't want any trouble, friends. We are just simply trying to make it through the forest. We mean no harm to anyone.
Drop to the ground.
Okay, all right. Fair's fair.
What I will do is actually cast, while I'm slowly going to the ground, cast Thuggetry. I'm gonna try and make footsteps appear, like sound like they're walking away, sort of. Footsteps that sound like the walking around, sort of.
Okay.
Like behind the tree people. Try to distract them.
One of the creatures comes up to Daniel.
Your tricks do not work here. Drop your weapons and kneel.
I will drop to one knee, as he said.
At this time, however, Squibbish finally finds what he's looking for, and he pulls out the orb, and he holds it up, facing all these characters, and he doesn't say a word. He just holds it up to them and shows it to them. And one of the characters says, it seems to be a female of some kind, and a little younger than the others, still very much adult even for a tree creature. But she just lowers her weapon ever so slightly.
Bloodwalkers, you must come with us.
Points with her spear, motions for everyone to go with them.
Jed, Daniel, what do you say to her proposal?
Will this delay us from what we need to do?
In my age, my strength lies in the orb. Back there it was survival. But now it seems we've entered their territory. Fighting back could cost us greatly.
So I think I'll take that and I'll motion all of us to chill and move along peacefully. You know, hopefully they still let us take the carriage, but still be on guard.
I will slowly stand up and like sheath my sword.
At this point, they approach you. Their weapons not out of hand, but they approach you even closer, and they begin to bind your hands behind your back. And everyone walks with them deeper into the woods, off the path. As you are walking, you gradually hear the sound of what sounds like some kind of instruments, and there's a giant wall of just the thickest, darkest, mossy wood in front of you, and it just seems to go on. As you approach it, however, it just splits open as all the plants themselves are alive and they're parting for you, and you enter a city, a full-on city of living plants and trees. As you're going in, they take you past literally a bustling city of just these people and into a large chamber where a old weeping willow type man sits there. His hair is like long gray moss, and he's like almost grown into the throne, as he's also made of plants. In there as well, along the wall, there are several people that you guys recognize from your ship, actually, that are bound in ropes. There's also someone along the front of the line who, it looks like they were going through some kind of a trial, like a court trial that everyone was lined up for. And the one at the front of the line, until you had all walked in, was a character named Xander. He has yet to speak to what is now noticed to be the chief. And you are brought before the throne. The chief sits there and he looks at you with these dark green eyes, and he looks at everyone, and the wind starts to pick up. Even though you're technically inside, it's made of trees, but wind starts to pick up, and he tilts his head as if he was listening to the wind. And he begins to speak, at first in a language that none of you recognize. It's just a jumble of some foreign tongue. But as he's listening to this wind, it slowly becomes more clear, and you hear him say,
Ninja, what brought you to the forest?
Oh, I was chasing a horse or I was trying to rob people, and then the horse got away.
So honest.
We were just
Yeah, go ahead.
following our guide. We mean no harm to the forest.
You have broken the peace treaty, and now you must stand trial, Blood Walker. First we must test. Are you predator or prey?
I will call myself a predator. Being criminals my prey.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Eric and Squibby should be like, can you just like pop that orb out and get us out of this? Like, what's going on?
As you're all pleading your cases to the chief, the one particular root lady, if you will, comes in with several of the guards, and she approaches the chief, walks right up to him,
Father, they brought this with them.
and he looks at it, and his eyes get very large, and he observes it, and in his hand it glows green ever so slightly, just like it's connecting with the power within him.
It belongs to you, Theodore.
Yes, sir. It is mine and my company's. These who travel with me through your lands hold it in equal guardianship.
The chief takes it and just places it on the armrest of his throne, and his hands, his fingers being plant-like, they actually start growing around it and connect to the throne as to make like a permanent wood cage around the orb connecting it.
Before further conversation, a test must take place. As is tradition and law in Dryadic land, you tiefling claim your company to be predator in the balance. Now is the time for you to claim your place.
And with that, some guards come in and they take everyone away. As they're taking everyone away, Squibbish and Artie are taken separately to stand next to the chief. What's going on? Where are you taking them? As everyone is drawn away, you are each drawn in separate directions around a magnificently enormous tree that's been hollowed out on the inside. As you go in, there are doors, more like gates, that raise, and you are walked inside. The gate slams behind you. It's made of heavy, heavy wood. And in the very center of this full circle of the tree, just very dim lighting and water. A lot of water. You hear a voice after the gate shuts, and it's actually the daughter of the thief.
Please, all of you listen. You still have an opportunity to gain my father the king's ear. In this trial, do not use fire, it is forbidden in our lands. Good luck.
As everyone is waiting in the silence, though, you actually see in the surrounding of the tree, as it's been hollowed out, there's like windows in it, and multiple of these plant people are peeking their heads in and watching for something. Everyone in the arena hears the bubbling of two other gates opening up, and it's mostly at the water's level with a slight gap, but it's pitch black inside, carved out from the inside of the tree. And you just each see the movement of something large and dark under the surface of the water, bubbles trailing behind it, slowly approaching you.
Yeah, I'll stay where I am.
In the left pond closest to you, you do see bubbles much closer than the initial entrance of whatever was there. The crocodile lurches out of the water.
So I will cast Bless on me and my two people. Then I will draw my greatsword and attempt to stab at.
Your sword just bounces off of its very thick scales.
I'm gonna bring my clear out and actually play a song and cast Bardic Inspiration on Daniel.
Yes.
Alright, so I'm going to cast Sleep on this monster.
Does not work. Daniel, the crocodile snaps at you, but it just catches just the corner of your armor. It turns to whip you with its tail as it leaves, but again, it just brushes your knee and kind of makes you stumble a little bit as it goes back towards the water.
Is it actually walking away from me?
It's turning and it's walking towards the nearest pool. And as he's trying to get into the water, you slash him, leaving a large cut across his back, and he hisses as he squirms to get in the water quickly. He is completely inside now, but he's circling around to come back out any moment now. You see bubbles in the water just approaching.
I'm gonna have to get close to him because the only other weapon I have is a rapier, and I can't use that.
May I suggest stealthing?
Inside this arena, there are logs and other like waist-sized plants. It's definitely, there's light in there, but there's a lot of shadows as well, and you just slip into one of the shadows and are hiding very well. So it did not even notice you. You're wandering up a fallen tree that's kind of like wet and slick with algae and stuff, and you're kind of wandering up there to get a higher viewpoint on it as it's passing underneath you towards the other.
Okay, so it's underneath me. I will go for it.
And you take your weapon and you just jump down into the water and it splashes. And when the white foamy water clears down, Jed and Daniel just see you literally on the back of this giant dog. You're just riding it, using the sword as a handle. It's flailing. You're just like riding a bull at this point, and it's just flailing around the water, trying to get Xander's sword out of its back.
And I'll roll to hit with my greatsword, using my Bardic Inspiration.
Again, your sword it sticks into the scales itself. It gets stuck for just a moment, but doesn't quite hack through. But the creature does cry out. Even with Xander on its back, it starts to focus in on you and starts out of the water. It's charging at Daniel at this moment, but you're coming up with your sword and you're going to attack it?
Yes.
I don't know what to do next because I'm on an alligator's back.
Keep stabbing it. Pull out my rapier. Try to poke it in the eye to maybe take some blind out, but I don't know if I hit him or not. I basically reach out, stab, and bring it back in.
You do hit it. You actually hit it and it grazes its eye, but then when it turns, it just sinks its own head into it on accident because it's flailing still. You just see this dark blood coming out of it. And then the crocodile, just in a split instant, it drops to the flat of its belly and straightens its body out, and it starts rolling.
Then I'm gonna wanna roll around its blind side and try to stab it in its stomach.
So as you use your blade and it strikes the soft underbelly of this reptile, it rolls and the blade just glides across it, almost like you're filleting a fish. The skin breaks open and blood starts circulating in the water, and but this thing is hurting bad.
Bleeding from its gut.
I will attempt to slash at it one more time. I just put the thing out of its misery as I go straight for its head, just slicing it off.
The crocodile, in response, collapses to the ground, and at this point is wheezing, and his mouth opens up wide. Just basically at this point, he's just hoping for something to come near his mouth. He is in excruciating pain.
I think by this point, I kind of got, I kind of get Daniel's combat style down, and I think he understands how insane I am sometimes. And I see that he's like about to go in for the kill, but I also see that this gator is weak, and I think, what if it tries to like turn and what if it's faking it? And so I run and I tell him to basically spear me at it, like as I'm running. And I think that Daniel would grab me as I'm running by and like throw me faster. And as I'm going faster, I bring my fingers to my lips like this, and I close my eyes really tight, and I look up, point at it, and I start doing the whistle thing that I usually do. And as it starts to trap around me, and I'm just inside its gullet where I don't think any of the blast will go on the outside and hit anyone else, I cast Thunder Wave.
The iconic blue light shoots into the gullet of this crocodile. The energy and the power from this blast fills the crocodile to the point where its body is inflated like a long balloon. And just for a split second, it blows up into this cylinder shape, and it explodes along the entire arena. Blood and guts and gore and bone and cartilage and everything, coating everybody just painted red. Well, alas, the fight is complete. The gates open, and guards come back to escort you back to the chief's throne room. The chief speaks, and he simply says that
The Orb Keepers have proven their place in the balance. They shall be given mercy this once. But do not return here, Bloodwalkers, lest you die.
And with that, guards escort Artie and Squibbish back to you, giving the orb back, and the daughter, which we'll just call it the princess because that's what she is. Princess brings you the orb and hands it to Squibbish and looks at all of you and just says,
You must all protect this now. My father does not wish for you to return, but let it be known. There is much time to discuss, and if times call for such measures, you all have my ear.
I may want to quickly ask them any information they might have or their opinion on the curse on this land.
The curse does not touch our people. We have no heartbeat, no blood. The forest continues to grow mighty, while the blood walkers wilt away.
The rest of the shipmates that were apparently there, like, are we leaving them behind?
The order of them has changed, but they are still awaiting their trial.
Would I notice any of them to be the people that kind of tried to overtake the ship?
Not that you know of. They seem familiar only by face. Maybe you guys were all on the same ship for several months and everything. As far as the individual ones that you remember getting into a scrap with, no signs of them.
I guess we should try to free these people because all they did was exactly what we did, stumble upon a place we didn't know we weren't supposed to be. So I think I'm going to try to convince...
Kill the chief! No.
I think I'm going to try to convince the chief to let them go, try to explain what's going on and if they wandered off the path, it's not because they knew. They're not even from this land.
Yeah, we had no idea about any treaty.
Any treaty.
Yeah.
We had no idea about boundaries. They were probably just trying to survive. And I'm going to try to persuade him. Basically, I'm just going to tell him about, I'm going to stop him and tell him about our whole story, where we've come from and where we've gone. And I'm going to be and throughout all of this, with respect, we have gained your ear, and all we ask is that these people not suffer for ignorance. They're not even from this island. They know nothing. None of them, I don't believe, should die because of ignorance.
I hear your words, Bloodwalker. Now hear mine. Does the lion show mercy to the gazelle when it wanders into the Bright Lands?
But at the same time, we're not animals,
And he looks at you, Xander.
Do not be so sure of that.
At this time, the princess does intervene.
Father, please. Even a lion knows a gazelle is not a threat to its young. We can afford mercy. It is within the balance.
Take your kind and leave at once. Remember my mercy, and do not again stray from the trail.
And with that, he sits back in his throne, and the vines and roots making up his body kind of meld and mix and twist in with those of the throne, and he becomes one with it. and seems to be asleep almost. Very conscious but asleep, almost like meditation. Very good job. All the prisoners that were there, their bonds are cut and they're sent on their way.
Well, before we go at this time, I still don't know exactly who y'all are.
Oh no, trust me, I'm making you stay with us. After you admitted that you tried to steal that horse's gold, that was obviously from the bank. I'm gonna keep my eyes on you to make sure you don't commit any crimes.
Come with us. We have great need of your skill that you may or may not have. And then I'll like slap you on the shoulder and like laugh, you know what I mean? Like, and then turn and then hopefully guide everyone out of this very hostile tree area.
You guys get guided back to the trail. The prisoners thank you very much and wish you well, and they head on their way throughout the different paths on the island. And Squibbish leads the way and continues down the path, every step on the path, towards his home, which is where we will pick up on the next time we play.
In the heart of the stormy sea lies an island of misery, cursed by darkness, lost in time. Only the heroes can break the rhyme. Four must unite to restore the light. Through the trials they will fight to bring back the day from endless night.
Well, there you guys have it, episode 2 of Aomaki's Isle. And oh my gosh, this one was so much fun. I am so sorry it took forever to make and to edit. But if you are listening, if you're listening from TikTok, if you're listening from Spotify or YouTube, no matter where you're listening from, thank you so much. And thank you to my friends, of course, for playing in my campaign and for really breathing life into this whole experience. If you want to hear more of this, please leave a review, a comment, share, something like that, because I would love to know that you guys are loving it as much as we are. But until next time, you guys have a wonderful night, and thanks for listening.